Hello, and thanks for joining us for another episode of Mid-American Gardener. I'm your host, Tanisha Spain, and joining me in the studio this week are three of the A-team, here to tell you about all things gardening. Let's have them introduce themselves and tell you a little bit more about their specialty. So, Phil, we'll start with you.
I'm Phil Nixon. I'm a retired extension entomologist with the University of Illinois, so I do bugs.
The creepy crawly guy. Yes, all right.
But he's pretty brilliant at it. My name is Martie Alagna, and I'm trying to be retired private landscaper.
But not quite retired.
Not quite. I just can't. They keep dragging me back in.
I know it.
So, yeah.
Okay. And John.
I'm John Bodensteiner. I'm a Vermilion County Master Gardener, and I've dabbled in a little bit of everything, even into hobby greenhouses and especially shade plants.
Excellent. Hostas. That's your
Hostas.
favorite, right?
Besides the tomato king of the universe, right here, live and in person.
We've got a great show tonight. This is going to be an hour-long show. We're going to have some friends visiting us, so we've got lots to get to. So, Phil, we'll start with you. You've got some insects you'd like to talk about, correct?
Yes, the insects that we've got are, I want to start out talking about parasitic wasps, and this is what a parasitic wasp typically looks like, or very similar to one. I got blue on blue.
Yeah.
So, there we go.
TV magic.
And so they look a lot like other wasps, except they are very, very small. There are some larger parasitic wasps that will attack some tree borers and some caterpillars and things of this nature. But most of them are going to feed on, they'll grow up on the inside of aphids and will inside scale insects and other types of caterpillars and things. And most of them are very tiny. They're typical size on most of your parasitic wasps are probably going to be somewhere in the range of about a 32nd of an inch long. So we're talking about wee sizes here.
That's tiny.
And the average person sees them and thinks of them as just being, they're just some little gnat, because they don't look close enough to see that they're built like a wasp. Many of them are like this one that I've got, and that it's going to be blue or green or a combination of the two. So when I saw this at a trade show, I thought, man, I got to have that one. Even though I'm sure they were trying to do a larger wasp in the thing. The important thing about that is that you need to try to attract these to your garden, because they do a tremendous job on helping reduce your aphids, caterpillars, other pests that you might have. And a lot of that is that although the larvae feed on small insects, the adults are pollen and nectar feeders. And if you think about it, if you're 1/32nd of an inch long, you don't have real long mouth parts. You are not going to be feeding on the nectar at the end of a spur of a columbine, all right? Because it's already 20 times larger than you are. So what you need are plants that are mainly in the daisy family, or in the related to the daisies, or the ageratum is one that they always talk about for parasitic insects. Things that have very short nectaries that these little mouth parts can get into and get that juice that's in there, get that nectar, feed on that pollen. Pollen's a very good protein source, and of course nectar to one of these little guys is like eating 5 candy bars. You just get a jolt of sugar. So what you want are things that tend to have very shallow nectaries in your garden that will feed not only the parasitic wasps, but the parasitic flies, and your other things that have the long mouth parts, like butterflies and moths and bees and so on, will all like these as well. So include, when you're doing it, not to have a bunch of deep-throated things, or things that have the flowers are such that you have to be grabbed and you have to shake a little bit to get loose, like the legumes, sweet peas, things like this. I think always of alfalfa from the field crop side. They literally grab the bug that comes in, and they have to jerk to get loose, so they get an extra dose of pollen on them. That just doesn't work with parasitic wasps, and so have some of these things that are real easy to get into and to access, and you've got the standing army to attack your pests.
And did you have a photo that goes along with
Yes,
this?
there is
a tiny
one.
little. Let's see
And
that
that's
one.
essentially one that's on damage from emerald ash borer. I don't know if that's an emerald ash borer parasite or not. It very likely is, or some type of borer parasite. But it's a parasitic wasp, and these borer channels are 1/8 of an inch wide, so you can get a good idea of this insect is maybe 1/8 of an inch long. A little bit larger maybe, but and they come in a lot of sizes, but they are small and they are slender, and you can see it's very wasp-like. Many of them are blackish like this one is, or will have some yellow on them, just like your larger wasps are, except they're in the realm of the very small.
Do they have a bite or sting that humans?
They have a bite or sting, but our skin is way too thick for something that small. So, and similar for bites. I mean, when your jaws are 1/20th of an inch across, you
You're
can't
not
get
getting
a
a whole
piece of
lot.
human skin in between them. You know, it's
that's
just,
true.
and that's really with spiders and other biting insects. You got to have for you to get bit by a spider, you have to have a spider which is big enough to have big enough jaws to get a fold of human skin between them. And for most spiders, they're way too small to even do that.
I like
And
that.
so, although yes, they can bite,
That's good news.
are they going to bite you?
news.
No,
Probably not.
because you got too thick, heavy skin. I'm sorry, you know,
Well.
you're not really an armadillo, but compared to them, you are.
I like that. We'll take it. All right. Thank you. On to Miss Martie. We've got a tomato question. This is from Ellen Robertson. She says, I was wondering why the leaves on my tomatoes are curling inward. They get watered, they've been fertilized, but they just look sickly, but some of them are blooming. What do you think about the leaves curling inward?
I would bet a shiny nickel that it's spider mites, and it's probably 2 spotted spider mites. Could be red. They're tiny, but you can still see them. You know, turn the leaf upside down, and when the leaf curls like that, they're so small that that's a perfect haven for them. And also, the weed barrier, written in English, on the ground is a perfect haven as well for spider mites of any kind, because they need it hot and dry. So underneath that little leaf, and the more they curl, the drier it gets, because it's, you know, it forms a little tent under there. They spin a tiny web. If you flip one of those leaves over, you'll see little things moving, and they're kind of cream color, but you can barely see. They've got a spot or 2 on them. And you'll be able to see that with the naked eye, or take out your magnifying glass.
I've heard too that if you take one of the leaves and just tap it on a white piece of paper
Oh,
and
yeah.
then smear it,
Yeah, you can see them.
it'll especially the red one.
Oh yeah, the red ones are really,
they'll smear red.
yeah.
Now, are these plants, can she save them? Can they be salvaged? Will they still produce?
You can save them. You can, but you need to apply any sort of pesticide, which has to be a miticide, or you can just use insecticidal soap, thinned out with water, follow the directions on the label. It's very simple. All this does is smother them because they breathe through their skin. They're little teeny bugs, okay? They don't have lungs and nostrils, I don't believe, do they, Philip?
Can you confirm
No.
or deny?
Okay, all right. So you spray this thinned out soap solution, liquid soap solution on them, and they smother and die. But before that, you can also water in the morning under the leaves, spray the spray up, wash off as many of those leaves as you can, let them dry, and then apply your soap.
Okay.
And you can do soap just to the under. Don't worry about getting it on the top of the leaves, because if you're out there with a sprayer, either a spray bottle or with a wand on it, doesn't matter. That's an industry term. You get underneath the leaves and you get the soap up underneath, or the insecticide, whichever you choose to use. And you can, even if you do use an insecticide, you can also add a little soap because it sticks better up in those little. Okay. So you smother them. And you may have to do it again in a couple of weeks. But eventually, you'll get them.
You can win this war.
Yes, you can. And the new growth will look dramatically better. You can always tell mite damage because not only does it cause leaf curl, but it looks like the green has been eaten out of the leaf because it has.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when Phil was talking about parasitic wasps, you left out the best part. The mommy wasp lays the eggs on the undeveloped insect that you don't want, and then the eggs hatch out and they eat him from the inside. It's so great.
Sounds like a horror movie.
And they come out just like the alien
Aliens.
larva in the Alien show. In fact, every entomologist that's seen that movie says there had to be an entomologist on set.
Oh yeah. I was thinking the same thing when I watched it. It's horrible.
But your red spider mite in the Midwest and the two-spotted spider mite are the same insect. They're red if they grow up under cooler conditions.
Ah, did not know that.
We all just
This is why we
learned
keep
something.
You. Yes,
Okay,
that's it.
Thank you for keeping me.
John, we've got about 3 minutes before we have to toss to our friend Steve.
I will do the quick one.
Excellent.
This is a variegated rubber tree plant. Why do I want to variegate? Well, I think it looks prettier than the other one.
They are.
And with the variegation, that means wherever you see the white or the yellow, that means the chlorophyll isn't quite as strong there, and so it's not going to grow as fast. A lot of people complained, I don't want a rubber tree. They get too big. They're just too big for my small area.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one nice thing. Now these are still, when you break it off, you're going to get that milky substance. So anybody that's allergic to any of those milky substances like poinsettias, and you have to be careful with this. Also, your pets, you don't want them to be chewing on these.
Is this one that you can kick out of the house for the summer and bring it back in?
Yes, and it will not survive if it gets below 30.
Okay.
But it's nice, and if it gets too tall, you can do air layering, which I'm going to be showing, I guess, your son maybe this next year.
He'll be in the greenhouse with you. My son is taking botany, and John's going to be his instructor. Isn't that hilarious?
So we'll we can do air layering and with sphagnum moss around it, and you put that on for about 6 weeks. It'll form a nice little ball of roots. You cut it off right above a leaf node, and that's where you'll get new stems in.
Bada bing, new plant.
A whole new plant. Do not overwater this. It doesn't like, you want to kind of, I'm looking at soil is moist. Don't need to water. You want to let these dry out. You don't want them to dry out completely. If it starts to fade, to wilt, you've waited too long. But just once a week or so, give it a good water. Make sure you have it in a pot that drains well, good potting soil.
What kind of light does it like?
Indirect.
Indirect.
Indirect bright light.
Okay.
So you want it within a couple feet of a south window, but not indirect light. You don't want to put it, because again, it's going to, these are succulents, and they will burn if you put it in too much sun. It'll take a little bit of direct sunlight, but
just a nice bright room will do. So. I like the color pattern on there. That's very pretty.
Really pretty. And the red.
They do like high humidity.
The red shows better.
Now, if you were to take that and propagate it, would it continue to grow variegated, or would it revert back to? It will.
No, it will.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm just cutting off the top.
Gotcha.
It's like a giant tissue culture.
Got it.
It's
Got
the
it.
same
Okay.
plant,
Well, let's put a pin in it. This is great discussion. We're going to throw it over to our friend Steve, and we will be right back. So, Steve, it's all yours.
Thanks, Tanisha. I love coming on Mid-American Gardener. I always learn something brand new, especially now. I have a new house over in Urbana that has a giant landscaping area. I can't even say garden because it's wrapped around the house. I'm removing a tree. It's a whole thing. So I have a lot of space to work with in my new house. But I'm not here to talk about my house. I'm here to ask for gifts of support from our viewers like you. It's 217-244-9455, online at willgive.org. If Mid-American Gardener helps you plant your life, helps you grow food in your garden, helps you make your flowers as beautiful as they are, now is your chance to become a friend of WYLL today at 217-244-9455, online at willgive.org. Any amount is great to work with. If you are able to give at that legacy circle level too, you're not only giving in gifts of support for yourself, you're also helping someone else that may not be able to give. It's 217-244-9455, online at willgive.org. Again, thank you for becoming friends of WYLL today, supporting shows like Mid-American Gardener, our new shows and newly rebooted shows like Prairie Fire, State of Change, all the shows on WYLL AM 580, all the local newscasts on Morning Edition, All Things Considered, all the local programming we do here. You can continue to support it at 217-244-9455, online at willgive.org. Now we go back to Tanisha and Amanda over at the desk.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for tuning in to Mid-American Gardener. Happy to be here with you, Tanisha.
Yes.
I wore my green to channel my inner green
Your
thumb
inner
today,
green thumb.
which you know I don't
like
have.
that.
My name
We're
is
gonna
Amanda
work on
Hill.
it.
I'm the member relations manager. I'm not a gardener. That's the problem. Tanisha is though, and so we are here today. It's the end of our fiscal year. This is our June TV fund drive, as you know. So we do occasionally break into our favorite programming just to ask for gifts of support. We're trying to reach that end of fiscal year goal. We're looking for new members. Perhaps there's some lapsed members that it's time to renew. This would be a good day today. And if you already give, we appreciate you. Maybe it's time to consider increasing a little bit.
Absolutely. And you know what? We have so much fun on this show, as you can tell. I learn something new every week. The panelists learn something new when we're here. So your gifts just really help us grow.
Yeah,
See what I did
like
there?
it. I love
See what
it.
I did there? So we just appreciate your support and your help. I read an email this morning of someone in Northern Illinois whom I will probably never meet, but just wrote in and said, wow, I really love this show. It's helped me learn to garden. It's helped me put some things into perspective. And so that's...
You're famous.
That's what we... Well...
Our panelists are famous.
The panelists
too.
are famous,
I think I need to
yes.
take a class with John and your son.
Yes,
That's so cool, by
yes.
the way. Botany class. Maybe that'll help. I actually really love the plant he just showed. I feel like maybe
Yes.
I could do that.
Hanging out with John, you'll learn a few things.
And the bugs stuff.
And the bugs,
I mean,
and
now
then
I'm
Martie
not
for
as
the
scared of those little
landscaping.
spiders. Yeah, exactly. And of course, if you do make a gift of support today, we have 2 tickets to the garden walk. Maybe we'll see you at your house on that garden walk someday.
Boy.
This is from the Champaign County Master Gardeners. It's Saturday, June 17th. And for the first 5 people that make a donation tonight, we will give away a pair of tickets. So that's going to be fun. Look for that. 8 homes this year to look at. And I know people get inspiration from that. So
I should
go. We should go together.
When you go to those, it's
our
like...
next girl trip, like after the Chicago one. Now
There
we'll
we
go
go.
on a garden trip together. So be great. And so, you know, even at that $7 level, look at this adorable mug. It's the cutest coffee mug I've ever seen. $7 plus you get that passport benefit, which is $5 a month. So $2 more, get that mug. Maybe you have a gardener in your life that you could gift it to and get the passport benefit along with it. So much for that $7 a month. It helps us in the future of our station, and you get the cutest coffee mug in town.
And as you stand there and marvel at your flowers all summer long,
That's
sipping
right.
from your Mid-American Gardener mug.
Yes, absolutely. So give us a call. We're at 217-244-9455. You can text the word GIVE to that number. You can go online to willgive.org. And again, let us send you this pair of tickets. We'd love to hear from you. First 5, I was going to say callers, but also online donators and texters. Anybody who gives a donation, we'd be happy to send that to you. So 217-244-9455. Text the word GIVE, 217-244-9455, or go online to willgive.org. We hope to hear from you tonight.
Absolutely.
WYLL has been around for over 100 years. We just celebrated our AM 580 100th anniversary last year. So we want to continue to support everything that goes on here at WYLL for the next 100 years. You can do so at 217-244-9455, online at willgive.org. Your dollar support shows like Mid-American Gardener, State of Change, which also Tanisha hosts, Prairie Fire, a newly rebooted Prairie Fire. We also do all the things on AM 580 and FM 90.9. All the locally produced stuff is very expensive. The only way we can do that is with your dollars. All your dollars go to support everything we do here at WYLL, just not WYLL TV, just not WYLL AM and FM, also all of our education programming, all of our kids programming. It all goes together to support, or all your dollars go together to support all the things we do here at Illinois Public Media. You can continue to support it at 217-244-9455, online at willgive.org. Maybe now's a great chance to up that membership, become a sustaining member. get access to WILL Passport at that $5 a month level. It's a great spot to start at. If you're not sure of how much you're able to donate, start at that $5 a month level. It's 217-244-9455, online at willgive.org. And always, there's some great thank you premiums that you can check out there too. It's 217-244-9455, online at willgive.org.
All right, thanks, Steve. And we're going to check back in with you and Amanda in just a bit. But we are back to show and tells, round 2. What are we talking about, Phil?
Well, back to my daisy.
Back to the daisy.
One of the things associated with daisy flowers is and other types of flowers is one of the pests that tend to show up on them are thrips. And thrips is like sheep, grammatically, we'll get it here. A single sheep is a sheep. A whole bunch of sheep are sheep. There is no such thing as a thrip. They do not exist. A single thrips is a thrips, and 150 thrips are 150 thrips. So just one of my little cat little pieces. But anyway, what they will do is that they will get on flowers, and what we have is flower thrips. There are many different kinds of thrips. But they will fly up in the spring, and on your flowers you may see streaking that occurs on the blade, on the petals, and this is commonly due to feeding by thrips. And thrips will have what they call rasping, sucking mouth parts. They will scrape away the surface, the epidermis of the leaves or petals, and then suck up the juices that are there, rasping, sucking, this results in light streaks initially in the leaves or petals, and as it then goes longer, these areas will turn brown, and you'll get brownish streaks that are going to be in those petals as well. And so the one that I'm holding and the and the pictures that are showing will end up showing the damage associated with the streaks. Like some of it's right out in the petals of various types of dark areas and so on. Although this flower is going by the wayside, you would expect some dying back. It's also been around long enough for those light areas to now turn brown due to the areas being damaged by the thrips. And the thrips themselves are very long, slender insects, very tiny again, typically about a 32nd of an inch long, and very slender insects. They have a picture of them here that shows them highly magnified, but they will look like just little dashes if they're out on the petals. Most of them tend to stay in towards the base, and they will also feed on the pollen. And one method of telling on a flower that you have thrips is that typically there's some of the pollen that is scattered out on the petals itself, which is an indication that that they've been in there rummaging around and kicking out pollen and so on and so forth.
Yeah, they look like little, and they're fast.
They are very quick. Yeah. They will fly. They have little branched wings and at the adult stage. And so they actually blow up here in the spring. One thing that they also cause a problem to gardeners is that particularly eastern flower thrips will attack strawberries. And when you have strawberries that tend to be undersized, gnarly, knobby, and whitish at the end, this is typical thrips injury. And so many times in Illinois we don't have a lot of, and the Midwest, we don't have a lot of thrips problems on the strawberries, but occasionally in the right conditions, right weather conditions, it can be pretty heavy. And so it's for the home gardeners usually not anything worth treating for. Commercial growers will spray for the thrips on their strawberries, but and certainly you don't need to worry about that on the flowers. Just a matter of knowing what you've got and what's happening. If you want to do anything about the thrips, insecticidal soap sprays once a week, a couple times, should really knock them back. Kind of the same thing that you would use for the mites that Martie talked about earlier.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, Marty, we're going to you. This is a question about hollies. This is from Linda McLaughlin. After moving here, we replaced 8 dying holly bushes with blue combo hollies in the spring of 21. They border the front porch on the northeast side of the house. There's a bit of an overhang from the roof of the front porch, so the back of the hollies seldom get watered from rain. The hollies get semi-shaded eastern sunlight in the morning and a bit of southern sunlight in the early afternoon. This year, I dressed them with compost. I've never fertilized them, and they are mulched with pine needles and leaves. She says they just look sad. Why do they look so sick and spindly? Are the yellow and brown leaves from just naturally dying, or is something wrong with them? Should I fertilize? Just lots of questions about the holly. So this is question 214, and we do have pictures of those. So, Miss Landscaper,
bring up
what
the
is your
pictures.
diagnosis?
There's a lot going on with these poor old hollies. She didn't say if they just built the house or not, but I'm going to say that the foundation of the house and hollies between the foundation of the house and the sidewalk, the leaching from the concrete, it just sweetens the soil way too much for hollies. So that's why they're not glossy green like they should be. They should be beautiful glossy green. I am assuming you would know that they need full sun. Hollies love full sun. And on the northeast corner of a house, unless it's only a one-story house and unless they're planted out, which you didn't say they were close enough to the house, they don't catch rain. I'm thinking they're deficient in light. They're deficient in, their pH is too high for the soil. That's why they look a little bit chlorotic. They look kind of olive green instead of a nice dark glossy green like they should. You can amend the soil. You can acidify the soil. You can use sulfur. You can use cottonseed meal. You can use ammonium sulfate. You can use aluminum sulfate. But you can top dress those. But and also the spindliness is because, again, an indication that the light is not adequate. Because hollies don't grow spindly naturally. They're pretty compact and they're pretty full. Some of the damage that you see on the yellow and brown leaves might be from winter, but probably it's just
limping along.
They're just struggling.
Yeah.
You know, the pH is too high. They like a very acidic soil, really. I mean, you can acidify it quite a bit. And get a soil test kit. I know I sound like a broken record, but get a soil test. It matters for plants like this. You know, and it really will make a difference whether they live or die. Most houses are concrete foundations. Obviously, sidewalks are made of concrete, and that leaches, lime into the soil out of the concrete mix. It leaches in, and you think, well, I don't run the water on it. Trust me, that's what happens. So, yeah, acidify your soil in the new bed where you should be thinking of moving them, where they get more sun. When you do that, if you move them, you can cut them back a little bit, take the longer sprouts back to a leaf node, or take them completely out. In the winter, you can use an anti-desiccant. You put a spray on the leaf, it just comes ready to use, and you just squirt it on there. It's like a wax, you know, kind of like they put on produce, but it keeps the desiccation from the cold winter winds from drying out those leaves and making them die off. Also, hot tip, do not shear your hollies. Even should they survive, because you're going to move them. If they do really well, don't shear them. You always hand clip hollies, because every leaf you cut in half will die back. So instead of a few brown and yellow leaves from winter, you'll have a jillion half leaves that are brown and yellow. So don't do that. Hand clip those hollies.
Okay,
So
you've got your work cut out for you.
There are a lot of things you could grow in that exposure, but I'm really feeling like they don't get enough sun.
Okay, all right.
And the northeast side, that they're going to get that wind.
Yeah.
So that's during the winter that they're evergreen, and they're going to
they're going to suffer. Yeah,
right.
they can't stand wind. On the south side of your house would be great.
Yeah.
They don't care how hot it gets or if they're even up against a brick wall, but they need acid soil, also mulch them, and they've got to have more sun than that.
More sun. Okay. All right, John, we are
Okay.
back around to you
Yes.
for something fun.
Yeah,
Looking.
these are great, aren't they?
Yes.
So this is, I brought a fire stick. I grew this at the greenhouse over the winter, and it stayed nice and warm, and it's gotten quite a bit of sunlight. So the chlorophyll in it is very healthy right now, the green chlorophyll, and this is called, I call it fire stick, but it's also known as red pencil stick because of the, it kind of looks like little pencils. It's in the euphorbia family. It's a tender perennial. It does not like to go below 30 degrees for long periods. It can tolerate one day or a couple hours, but that's about it. It is a succulent. I have had it bloom insignificantly in the wintertime. Very tiny flowers. And also, if I saw one place I had a couple of leaves. They're very, very tiny leaves, and they usually fall off almost as they come on. So it's not, you don't grow this for the leaf. The cooler temperatures
It's supposed to be naked.
The cooler temperatures and maybe a little bit less sunlight where the chlorophyll is going to suffer. Like in the autumn where the leaves turn yellow and red. That's not because the red and yellow wasn't there. It's that the green overwhelms the red and the yellow chlorophyll. So you want the chlorophyll the green chlorophyll to suffer a little bit. So if I can put this in a cooler place and maybe not quite as much sun, the green chlorophyll is going to die back, and that's where the yellow and the red is going to. Now I've had it at home in the shade, and you can start to see it is starting to yellow a little bit. The chlorophyll is dying back. It does like full sun, but I mean it's just going to look like this. You're not going to get the nice red coloring. I do get some nice red coloring during the winter in the greenhouse because I put it in a cool place. The sunlight, you don't have the 12 hours of sunlight like we're having now, but it is a succulent. So another thing is you want it in sandy, well-drained soil. It does not like wet feet. Believe it or not, this can get up to 30 feet tall.
Oh my gosh.
I will never see that because we just don't have the right growing. This is a plant from Africa, and down there they have the conditions that is perfect for it. Most of the time, I can get this to be maybe 6 feet to 8 feet tall.
Now, can you just pop any of those off?
I can pop these off. That's another thing. You have to be. This is another one, just like the rubber tree plant. It is a milky substance, so people that are allergic to that have to be kind of careful. Again, it's toxic to animals. If you are allergic to poison ivy, poinsettias, any of those things, you can still touch this and get a little milk on you. Just go wash your hands with good soapy water and get rid of it. So it's just a fun plant. I just
very pretty.
It's and I didn't realize this until I'm just sitting here, but I must have had. I've got some papyrus.
Papyrus
grow.
Yeah.
I had some growing next to it, and apparently a couple of the seeds fell in there.
They jumped in there and
I'm
made
getting
themselves
some
comfy.
baby little papyrus now.
Apparently,
nice.
they're drought tolerant.
Very
Which is kind of strange because they usually
they
grow
like
along
water. They'll grow in a water
so
pie.
they may not last very long.
Possibly.
But anyway, it's just a fun little plant.
That is a fun plant.
And again, you can break these off at a joint and just put a little bit of rooting hormone on them and put them in a sand bed, and before long you have another whole plant.
Very nice.
That's how I got this one.
Oh wow.
It was a cutting.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you, John. All right, we're going to turn it back over to Steve for just a few more minutes, and he's going to talk to you about how you can help us do more of this.
Thanks, Tanisha. And I'm joining, along with Amanda here, the Tanisha and the Mid-American Gardener panelists, because it is our June Fund Drive, asking for gifts of support to help WILL reach our end of fiscal year goal, which is just right around the corner. You can do so at 217-244-9455, online at willgive.org. If texting is more your speed, if you're kind of a millennial like me, you can do so at text the word GIVE at 217-244-9455. Your gifts go to support Mid-American Gardener, Prairie Fire, State of Change, all the shows that we do here on WILL TV, also all the things we do on AM and FM. All Things Considered and Morning Edition have daily newscasts 3 times an hour during those shows. All of our agricultural programming on radio from Todd Gleason and willag.org. All of our classical music programming on FM 90.9. We have a local classical music DJ here every day, Monday through Friday. Also, the only place for on-air opera in Central Illinois is right here at WILL. You can continue to support all of that at 217-244-9455. Also online at willgive.org. You can also text the word GIVE to 217-244-9455. $5 a month gets you access to WILL Passport and also goes to supporting all the things we do here at Illinois Public Media. It's 217-244-9455, online at willgive.org. We now go to Tanisha and Amanda at the
Thanks, Steve, and thanks to everybody who's tuning in tonight. I hope you're enjoying this episode of Mid-American Gardeners. 30 years you've been on the air. That's pretty impressive. How many for you specifically?
I've been here since 2018, so I'm on my 5th.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the baby
of
the bunch.
Number. Yeah.
We've got some panelists that have been here from the beginning.
It's amazing, yes. I mean, and you do such a great job doing
Thank
double
you.
duty tonight over there, here. It's like magic. We appreciate you being with us. Always love to be on camera with you, even though you're way more professional than me.
You're doing
I have a lot to learn.
You're doing great.
Well, we are asking for gifts of support today. You know, if you haven't become a member, you want to be a friend of WILL, tonight is a great time to do it. We are wrapping up this fiscal year, so we're always looking for as many new members as possible. So many different ways you can give. You pick the amount you're comfortable with. We like sustaining memberships. That kind of ensures the future here at WILL, and it's such an easy, we call it the set it and forget it way to make your monthly payments. Pick the amount that's comfortable for you, and then you can choose to pay by credit card, EFT, which is kind of our favorite. You don't have to worry about that expiration date getting in the way. So it just keeps going seamlessly. It's directly from your bank account, or if you are a University of Illinois employee like the two of us, then you can give through payroll deduction. So nice and easy. And of course, we have gifts. We always have gifts, extra incentives.
Remember the gifts, right?
That's
so
right.
for $7 a monthly gift, you get this lovely mug here
So
that we talk
cute.
about all the time.
Yes.
I have one of these at home, and I never get to use it. Either my husband or the kids is just walking around real casually, drinking their coffee in the morning. So that is yours for $7. For $10, you get this plant primer book. And we've been talking a lot about pollinator pockets and native plants. This can help you get that started in your own yard to attract butterflies and hummingbirds and all kinds of.
This really is a hit. We have to order these so much throughout the
Yes,
year.
it's
People
so
love
helpful.
this book. So
And then guess what? There's a combo
Yay,
option.
combo.
For $15 a month, you can get both of those. So peruse the book as you sip your latte.
Yes.
And plan your pollinator
garden.
pocket.
Not to mention, too, with any of those levels of giving, you get Passport, which is our #1 popular benefit. So many shows. There's new mysteries out there. Ridley, Endeavor final season, The Marriage, or just Marriage. That's our new drama. So always so much to see, plus all the classics binge. Gosh,
We're there.
All Creatures Great.
You can
Small
find us
binge
there.
Tanisha.
Yeah, we're there.
Yeah, so wonderful. We'd love to hear from you tonight. And just as an extra incentive, for the first 5 people that make donations, we have a pair of tickets to give away to the garden walk. Very inspirational, very exciting. So give us a call, 217-244-9455. You can text the word GIVE to 217-244-9455. Not a millennial like Steve, but I can text. Or you can go online to willgive.org. We'd love to hear from you tonight. Let's get some new members.
Yes.
This will be our goal.
And that garden walk is a great date night, great girls' night event. Just a way to get out there and see what other folks are doing, and then incorporate that into your space. Yes, yes.
217-244-9455, or go online to willgive.org.
It's okay that you're not millennial. I just like to show people that, hey, we're here too. And your donations go to help us create exceptional local programming here at WILL. And not only that, we have become kind of a hub for the things for public radio and public television here. Just recently, PBS NewsHour was on campus filming a show on climate change and agriculture, two things that are very, very near and dear to us here at WILL. We have a long history of agricultural programming here on AM 580, FM 90.9, and on WILL TV. And also, we have State of Change. It's a yearly 1-hour program here on WILL TV. Airs about every November or so, and your dollars go to support that. Tanisha hosts it, so if you really like to see Tanisha on the screen, it's your opportunity to become a friend of WILL today at 217-244-9455, online at willgive.org. And of course, if you're able to, that large donation tier, that Legacy Circle tier, is a great opportunity to become a friend of WILL and not only support yourself and your community, but other people too that maybe aren't able to give at this time. It's 217-244-9455. Also, those really cool premiums that are available for you are all right there too. It's 217-244-9455, online at willgive.org. We have a little bit more of Mid-American Gardener on the way here to keep the gardens fresh at 217-244-9455.
All right, thank you, Steve. Now we are talking about pirate bugs?
Pirate bugs.
Pirate bugs, okay.
Arrgh.
We had to do it. Now, where can we find these lovely creatures?
They're going to be found just about anywhere during the summertime.
Okay.
They are a mixed bag. They're kind of like yellow jackets. They eat caterpillars and then they sting us. So this one's kind of similar in that this is one of the major top natural enemies that's really rough on aphids, on thrips. In fact, this picture was off the same daisy that I've just showed you, because they were there feeding on the thrips. They're a natural enemy doing that. They'll feed on small caterpillars. They're very tiny. They're about 1/8 of an inch long, so they're relatively small. These are both adults. You can see wings on them. At least I can. And the nymphs will be kind of yellowish like the thrips were, but kind of triangular shaped. So they're definitely different. They have piercing mouth parts that will suck juices out. And where we talked about the parasitic wasps having too small a mouth parts to pierce human skin, these do it very well.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
Essentially, if you happen to have flowers around your house, or if you go outside during the summertime, anywhere in the Midwest, you're likely to have one of these land on your arm and give you a little nip.
Okay.
They are quite common. They are more common the more flowers you have around the house, the more other vegetation. They don't just occur on flowers, but they will feed on nectar. In fact, as I was taking pictures of these, there's one, every once in a while one would take a nosedive down in through that mass of yellow pistils. There we got it, and stamens and get some nectar. So they were feeding on nectar while I was photographing them yesterday. So
what kind of camera do you have? Because that is that definition is
very good. It's very good.
I have a
good one.
I have a Canon 4, which they use to take. They actually use the video sides of that to take commercial movies, such as some of the Mad Max
you do
movies
great.
were taken with the same camera. $1,500 without the lens. So yeah,
all right. Well,
you're looking at some serious quality here.
Yeah.
This is not a cell phone camera. No.
That's where all my pictures come from.
But they will bite you, and they are not going to be repelled by repellents. In fact, they may very well be attracted by repellents. Realize these like flowers, and so they're going to be attracted to floral fragrances. If you wear perfumes or fragranced deodorants, this will tend to attract them to you.
Interesting. And a lot of
many of the
is fragrance.
And many of the insect repellents have fragrances in them to make them smell better to us. Herbal repellents are going to be very fragrant as well and attract these. So they will really attract to you. I find them biting me most commonly on my arms or my wrists. But they're just a little nip. I have heard people that say they respond to it in a little red bump, but most people don't. But it's just one of those things that we put up with as gardeners, and if you seem to get nipped and then you look down and there's this itty bitty little bug or you can't see anything, chances are that's what it was if you were outdoors.
Just shake my fist and cuss the pirate. But how did they get that name? Do we know?
Mercenaries. They do what they want.
Enough from the peanut section.
I'm just saying.
My guess, I don't really know, but I would guess that because the pirate flag is black and white and they are black and white, that is probably the way it is. And of course the other thing is they're sneaky and they'll run up and nail you without you realizing what's going on. So, you know, they kind of act like pirates to a certain extent.
Okay.
And I've never heard them say "arg" before, but
not yet.
But
not
then
yet.
I don't listen real well.
Okay. Thank you. That is our lesson on pirate bugs. All right. We're going to do 2 questions with Martie. She's got a couple short ones. This is from Mark Lane. He has a question about, so earlier in the program, we talked about allium, and Ella talked about spray painting them to kind of dress them up in the garden. So we've had 2 questions come in and ask, will the seeds still be viable if they have spray paint on them? So
the seeds are perfectly viable. The issue is if the paint's on thick enough that the little capsule that the seeds contained in can't break open. So at the end of the season, you can just crush them up, you know, crush the heads up, and I mean, the seeds are pretty good size. They're easy to see. So you can just crunch them up and sprinkle that all around, and ta-da, you're in business.
Round black things.
Round black things, yes.
The seeds.
But they don't bite you.
No. Those are flat back things.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
They do bite too. They're horrible.
let's see. Mandy Webster wrote in, how do I keep squirrels from digging in my flower pots? And I'm all ears because I'm going through it too.
Yeah.
Chipmunks and squirrels at my house.
And mine as well.
Yes.
Yeah. I have heard people have great success putting plastic forks upside down in the pot.
Like prongs up?
Prongs up. So you put the handle in, and they're like, try that.
Oh,
you know, so
that's unpleasant to sit on.
Yeah, or dig in. You know.
Yeah.
So get out. Obviously, you could put some sort of a fence wire grid over the top. You're going to have to secure it somehow, but that would keep them from digging in. Your plants have to be able to grow through it. So, I mean, it's all about barrier. I don't think there's anything that will deter them that you can apply.
Just got to get creative.
Yeah, you can't apply
A spray.
like deer repellent or something like that. I don't know about human hair. I don't know if they would be repelled by that, but I don't think they would. I know people swore by capsaicin for a long time in bird feeders, and I had a big old hackberry out in our backyard before it passed away, and the squirrels just lived in it. It was a haven. There was generations of squirrels living in the hackberry, and I put capsaicin because they were just robbing all the seeds. You know, and they don't eat the seed as much as they just pull it out and make a mess.
Just want to look at it.
Yeah. So there was plenty of pepper in there, but the birds can't taste it, so it doesn't bother them. But mammals, that's a different story. And I distinctly remember looking out the window, one of the upstairs windows one day, and there's this squirrel. He runs back toward the tree on this big long branch, and then he turns around and he looks back down, and then he just lays flat on the branch and he goes, and I thought, good, yeah,
Gotcha.
I hope it burns your mouth. Here,
So
wash it down with
barriers.
this,
That's the best you're going to be able to do
That
with
is-
these
You can
guys.
even buy these spiked mats to keep cats from digging in the gardens that I think would probably work for that.
Yeah,
Oh,
probably
there
would.
you go. Okay.
I've heard pine cones too sometimes.
I've also heard that balls from a sweet gum, the seed pods, the little round spiky balls, they can do an effective deterrent for rabbits in the garden because they don't like walking on them if you don't mind the look of the mulch, and I wouldn't. If it kept rabbits
If it
from
kept
eating
them,
stuff,
yes.
I don't
Okay.
care.
Well, you've got some options
It's a
there.
brown mulch, though.
Let's see. We're going to John. This is question 216 from Mary Dickinson. She says, this is a 4 or 5 year old hardy fig that I just repotted into this large pot. Should I prune it? And if so, where should I make cuts on the tree? And we do have a photo of this, question 216. So You said you have a fig, John?
I have one, but it's outside in the soil.
Oh,
so
okay.
nature prunes it to the ground each winter.
Got it.
And then it comes back. So I was going to say, yes, she can definitely prune it. She can cut it off to whatever height she wants. It's going to actually encourage more fruiting if she does that. She wants to do it near a leaf mode so that where the leaves are, and that's where the fruit actually come out. The figs themselves are actually flowers. They're a different flower. There's I believe a wasp that actually crawls in and
fertilizes the
I'm
fig.
just learning all
Fertilizes
kinds
the
of
fig.
stuff.
And of course,
Yeah.
the wasp doesn't occur in this part of the world.
right.
But you don't need them fertilized to have
No,
figs.
because you don't have. We're
You're
not
not
gonna
producing
get,
seed,
we're
you're
not
producing
gonna-
fruit.
Yeah, we're not going to get fig seeds. But
Got
Like
it.
pineapple.
it's as you do that, if you top that off, don't throw that top away. Go in and get some rooting compound and put that in your wet bed, and you're going to get another whole fig tree. As they're going to go dormant at certain times. Being she's got hers in a pot, if she brings it in before it does go dormant, she's not going to notice as much of a leaf drop. Once it does go dormant, she could actually trim it to the ground. It may put up more shoots. You can have up to 4 or 5 shoots out of one rooting root. And the side shoots, if you're getting a lot of side shoots, you may want to trim some of those off because it's going to take away from the actual growth of the plant. Hers is close to 5 years old,
Yep.
and she should be getting figs because at 3 to 5 years is when you start to get figs on your plant.
Okay.
Winter, summer pruning, there's difference. In the winter time, you can give it a hard prune. During the summer, you just want to do the small side shoots, like kind of
Kind of cleaning it up.
tomatoes and things where you take the suckers
Sure.
and that thing. But
Okay.
they're fun to, they're just so delicious to eat right off the plant.
Ooh, okay. We're going to throw it back to Steve one more time.
Thanks, Tanisha. I'm Steve Mork here with you during Mid-American Gardener, just asking for gifts of support to WILL and shows like Mid-American Gardener at 217-244-9455. Also online at willgive.org, and also text the word give to 217-244-9455. We know that donations vary between person to person, but whatever you're able to give will help us continue to produce local programming here at WILL, Mid-American Gardener, Prairie Fire, State of Change on the television side. On our radio side, there's a lot to all the newscasts from Morning Edition and All Things Considered. The 21st show is produced right here at Illinois Public Media. All of our classical music at WILL, from Vic DiGeronimo's show, Classic Mornings, Monday through Friday, with Afternoons at the Opera with John Frayne on Saturdays from noon until 4, and all the things that Vince produces with the evening concert and Classics of the Phonograph and everything else in between. All those dollars go to support everything we do here at 217-244-9455, online at willgive.org. You can also text the word give to that same number, 217-244-9455. Thanks for becoming a friend of WILL today. Lots of cool premiums, too, that Amanda and Tanisha will talk about in just a little bit. It's 217-244-9455, online at willgive.org. Now, Tanisha and Amanda, to you.
Thanks, Steve, and thank you all for tuning in, Mid-American Gardener. It's a pleasure being here today. We're going to hear from the panelists one more time after this, but we are wrapping up the end of our June fund drive this week, and we'd love to hear from you, love to get some new members, even members who already give. We see you, we thank you. Maybe if you're in a place where you're able to increase a little bit, we'd love that too. Every little bit, we have these great gifts that we are always so happy to push on people. The mug, the book, the combo for both, that's $15. You get both of these, our passport benefit. So always so much to offer, always so much going on here.
Yes.
So give us a call, 217-244-9455. You can go online to willgive.org.
Absolutely. And we've talked before about your green
I knew
thumb.
it was coming.
Any gardening?
So my husband Ryan's amazing. He just got everything planted this weekend. So
Excellent.
Thank you, hubby. But you know, I love it. I appreciate it. I respect it. I'm scared of bugs. I'm gonna
Yes,
admit it.
I am
Every time
too.
Phil comes on, I'm like, there's another bug to worry about, the pirate bugs. But that
I'm
one's
always like, does it bite? Does it sting? What do I need to be ready
Yes,
for?
and worms. I know this just sounds
Yes,
so,
yes.
so cliche, and I know they do amazing things for the
They
earth.
do,
but
but
they're just make me squeamish. But I really do appreciate. I probably need to go on. We have these garden walk tickets too. I should say
Yes.
for those who make donations tonight. The first 5 donations, you get a pair of these. I should go and take notes. I will call in to get one of these. But I think that would just be a really fun trip. But you know,
I agree.
take notes, take pictures, and I have a lot to learn. You though, you are probably a pro. Tell me about your garden
not
at
a
home.
pro. I'm still learning. Yes, we do
what's
have
your
a big
favorite
garden.
thing?
Sugar snap peas are my absolute favorite, and they are
nice.
on. It seemed like over the weekend they all just popped, and so my son, my
Amazing.
youngest, not my teenage son, because he can't.
Of course.
But we just go out there and just pop them off
Oh,
the
I
vine,
love
and they don't
that.
even make it into the house.
Wow,
So
that's
yes,
so cool.
we've got watermelon and zucchini
so you're like
and
food.
green beans.
You're more on the food
Oh,
side
yes.
than the yes. That's
I have
impressive.
a lot of flowers, but yes, we do a lot of food.
I always pictured like tomatoes too, and then you make your own salsa and stuff like that. I mean, it sounds
yes.
so cool in theory.
It is.
Marty
it
can help
is.
me maybe with my tomato garden.
Don't give up. Don't give up. There's hope for you.
Yes, there is. Well, if there's hope for you and you need tips and you need to keep watching Mid-American Gardener, it is because of viewer support
Yes.
from you that ensures that the future of this show and the lovely Tanisha stays on air. So give us a call if you can, 217-244-9455. You can text the word GIVE to that same number, 217-244-9455. You can go online to willgive.org. We'd love to hear from new people today, too.
And those garden walks, I mean, when you see some of the work that folks put into their yard,
gosh.
I mean, that requires constant attention. Something I won't have that kind of time ever.
Maybe
but
when your kids
it just
little
makes
grow
such a
up, but-
fun time to just kind of stroll along and see some great things
See all
growing.
the beauty out there.
Yes.
So wonderful. Well, we'd love to give those away. Give us a call, 217-244-9455, or go online to willgive.org.
And I think my neighbor's house is on that garden walk, so you won't see my house on it this year, maybe eventually. But shows like Mid-American Gardener make it possible to learn about how to do those things, and you can learn how to do different things like make a garden part of a garden walk, grow your own food, make sure you know what tree to trim or how much of it to trim, all right here from Mid-American Gardener. You can do so and support it at 217-244-9455, also online at willgive.org. Maybe that $5 a month level, which is a level I like to give at, gets you access to WILL Passport and all the things that are available from WILL TV and so much more. It's 217-244-9455, online at willgive.org. Your donations go to support all the local programming we do here, including Mid-American Gardener. It's 217-244-9455, online at willgive.org, and thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Steve. We've got a few minutes left and a couple questions we'd like to tackle for you. We're going to start with Phil. Vicki Perry Ellis wants to know, what is the best treatment for aphids on roses? Right now, she's using soapy water.
Well, soapy water is correct. However, it should be insecticidal soap, not anything that you're making up yourself. I've had some peers around the country who have looked at various types of soaps and so on, and some of them, like Dawn and Ivory, are downright toxic to most plants. Will kill them very quickly. But insecticidal soap, which you can purchase as that at your garden center, is formulated to kill bugs and not kill plants, and they will work well. Important thing is you would use them once a week, a couple times, and then wait to see if the aphids build up, because when you're spraying that on there, you're also killing the little parasitic wasps that are the natural enemies that are killing your aphids for
Our
you
friends.
and your friends, and give them a chance. Don't just kill them too. So if the aphids start to build up, then you spray. You don't want to do a calendar spray on roses or any other plant for aphids.
Okay. Excellent. All right, Marty, we're going to go to you. Question 213. This is from Barbara Bundy. She says, my daughter's garden is overrun with this. Unfortunately, we shared hostas and now we all have it. What is it and how can we get rid of it?
I thought this was GM Avens. It's like a non-variegated type of bishop's weed, or snow on the mountain, people call it sometimes. It's the variegated kind. I can see planting it. Don't throw rocks. There are places that are tough enough to grow something in, that stuff will live and look nice, but at the same time will not take over the county, you know. But this is the green, it's a native plant. This is the green variety, and it's just not attractive. It'll have the same little stalk with a little umbel of flowers on the end, but they're just, it does nothing.
Okay.
So
We got about a minute left. I want to get one more question in.
just pull it, water well and then pull it out.
Water and pull it. Okay. This is the last one. This is for John. This is from Peggy Zabicki. Is it safe to plant veggies next to a walmanized wood fence?
I looked at the manufacturers and they said do not.
Okay.
Unless you have an impervious liner between the wood and the soil. So I would not. What you might do is plant some flowers in between to soak up any chemicals that are leaching, and then put a plastic liner and then plant your vegetables if that's where your garden is. But the manufacturer does not recommend planting edible vegetables or food plants next to that type of wood.
Okay. We are fresh out of time. Thank you guys so much for coming in and staying with us for our longer show. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. If you have any questions, send them in to us at yourgarden@gmail.com, or you can look for us on socials. Just look for Mid-American Gardener, and we will see you next time. Good night.